Are we rolling?
Now we are. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Feel Good podcast, Mr. Tyrone Paulsen. A lot of history here. I don't mean to have guests where the first question keeps recurring as, do you remember when we met? But do you remember when we met?
Well, I think so. I don't know if you remember where we met.
I bet I do, but oh shit. Okay, go.
Okay, I remember. For me, it was. What's the square called? It's in Observatory. It's in Obs. It was a night I was invited by another friend of mine called also Tyrone, DJ Easy. And there was this car meet that was happening. And he said to me, listen, I need you to come. There's some cool people I need you to meet. And then I got introduced to you and Janine on the same day. And and from there we just kind of started seeing each other at a lot of places. That's how I remember. But I remember when I met you, I was, oh my word, this is that Canucks guy.
Close enough.
Because that's how I met you.
Okay, so my first memory, so now I'm feeling quite bad, was the Max Power gig.
Now,
was this after that? Or was
that was before that. That was before Max Power.
So that's why you were so nice to me at the Max Power thing. We already met.
We already met, yes.
I was impressed. You know, I was, what's the word? Like kind of like stage struck. Celebrity, Tyrone Paulsen, DJ. You might not know this about me, but like I grew up listening to Good Up FM.
Yeah.
So Mark Gilman, Graham White, all those guys. And we used to go to all the, well, when we were old enough, all the little parties, the nightclubs, and so that's how we would live our lives. So like I was like DJs, dude, radio DJ, obviously club DJ, and so on. So I was quite happy to have like a DJ friend for the first time in my life. But okay, so I did not get that right. Okay, but you must understand in OBS, especially like early car scene, like dude, we weren't working, but we were like working with people. I met so many people.
Yeah.
I'll often joke like I've got car friends, I've got video game friends, I've got friends from different like sectors. And by all means, the car friends I've got today is not necessarily the ones that I had at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But okay, so I got that wrong. 1 point to you.
Yay!
0 to me. But tell me about like your DJ career. So I'm less interested in the Good Up FM stuff and the radio stuff, and more like that nightclub stuff. I mean, were you not like a god dude on the Cape Flats?
So I mean, look, the DJing thing, I kind of started when I was younger, got into it because I've had uncles that DJ'd. And I had friends in the area that was DJing and all of that. But I was also involved with, I really loved the whole hip hop scene that was growing. There was these dance crews in Mitchell's Plain growing up. So I was always the guy kind of playing the music. So it was just a kind of a bit of a natural progression to kind of get there. But the DJing thing that I really started concentrating on actually happened after I started doing commercial radio, which, funny enough, next year's 25 years. Damn, so it was about a year into my first commercial radio gig that I was asked to listen, can you actually DJ? And I'm like, look, I dabbled a bit back in the day. Let me give it a go again. So I only started afterwards. And then from there, kind of just ended up playing in nightclubs all over the place and still at this old age, still continue doing it.
So you're obviously doing like a DJ voice now. Can we hear your normal voice?
That is my normal voice. I can do the DJ voice.
No, you do it hard. And I mean, it almost blends together. Like I've heard other people do DJ voices.
Yeah.
I heard Tyrone. I could hear him in this mall. And then Kelly would be like, no, that's some other. That's the Mr. Price DJ. That's not Tyrone. Like, okay. There is like a frequency you guys operate on. I think it's quite impressive. But no, dude, well done. 25 years as a DJ, and then obviously at some point you went, nah, fuck this. I want to talk about cars instead, because you have joined me in what I do, which is glamorous, right?
It's not so glamorous. It's hard work.
It looked glamorous though, right?
It did for me. You know, that's the scariest thing though. And that's kind of the appeal for me why I was again starstruck with you when I met you, because of the magazine that you originally worked at and everything that you did, because I used to buy that magazine. So it was quite awesome to be able to kind of meet the guys who put it together. So it was quite awesome, because for me it was good to kind of read these stories and see what you did, the photographs, just everything. And as you progressed to the Max Power and all the other stuff that you've done, it's just intrigued me immensely, even from a kid reading all kinds of stuff, the silly things in the report about it. And yes, they weren't as great as what you were and still are at telling a story, and a lot of the guys still do. And that's what really kind of worked for me. Yeah. But I don't, joining you guys, it wasn't really a thing that I thought I'm going to do. And then I thought, it's going to be glamorous and I'm going to be going off here and seeing it.
And you do go off here and there.
I've had some opportunity so far this year, and I'm really privileged. I'll say that again. I've been very privileged. I still can't believe that I went. And I know it was only by default because some other people couldn't go, so you just go. But it's been amazing, but it's hard work.
Well, look, I've been doing, let's say I've been traveling for about 15 or 16 years doing exactly what you're doing now. And by any stretch of the imagination, you're only there because someone else couldn't go. So there's always a platform, a title, that deserves to be there and you represent.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily change, or there's no difference in stature necessarily. You're doing it because it's the beat we walk, and it's a hell of a beat. 15 years of traveling, but I've been writing about cars for 20 years now, and I still, can't believe my luck. And I think it's also, especially when you're, a brown kid from the Cape Flats.
Exactly.
Dude, if someone told you years from now you're going to get paid to, or not paid to, write about cars, you'd never believe them. It just wasn't something that would happen to us.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but for me, a car meant freedom. Cape Flats.
Exactly.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Mitchell's Plain. Bontierville originally, Bontierville into Mitchell's Plain. Moved there in 1980 and moved out in 97. So yeah.
Okay, so you paid your dues.
Yeah, it was. Well, I wouldn't say pay my dues. It was where my parents moved to, and we went with, and I think that whole area and the people around me shaped who I am today.
I think there's a misconception about growing up in the Cape Flats, growing up in the hood, and it being bad. But it was awesome, right?
It was amazing. I was telling my kids last week we were back in my old street, because one of my family members unfortunately passed away living in the street. So I was there with my eldest daughter and just showing her some of the places and where we hung out and what we did. And
not everything you did.
Well, not everything we did, some of the stuff, But it was just so cool, and I could tell her that we would literally walk from where we lived to the beach. The beach for us was like a normal thing. And you would sometimes decide to, because I lived in Portland, and then I would get on my bicycle and ride from Portland to Lentegeur, and sometimes even to Goodwood, because there was a BMX track there. So we'd ride, and we could do that. It was amazing. It was fun.
How many bicycles was stolen, of yours? How many bikes
of mine? Yeah. Not a single one, actually.
Shit, man. I had 2 stolen, and it still affects me to this day. It's a cuck feeling.
I've never had a bicycle stolen.
My problem was I'm a serious game cop. So I would go to any shop, any cafe, any bobby shop, and I'd skip games.
Yeah.
And so much was the compulsion that at some point you'd be like, where the fuck is my bike?
Yeah.
And then, you'd the tears would start welling up.
Wait, where did you stay?
Athlone.
In Athlone. So I didn't steal your bike.
No, you didn't steal my bike. Don't steal bikes. It's the worst thing. When you go from mooring someone in street fighting, all of a sudden you're like, no man, Owens, really, where's my bike? And it's not even because your parents are going to moor you. It's because you loved your bike. Your bike was your first wheels.
It's your freedom.
It's your first freedom.
Yeah.
You can only go so far.
Yeah.
But then came cars. And I think it's common for a colored guy's car career to start very, very young. Let's just say the previous generation were quite lax with the rules, and you'd end up in a car a lot sooner.
Yeah.
What was the first car, like when you were growing up? Not necessarily that you drove, but that made you go, I think I'm attracted to cars.
So my uncle had this Ford 20M. I don't know if you know.
Oh God, I almost bought one, but please continue.
So he had a 20M, and he absolutely, and it was a 2-door type coupe type thing.
Coupe.
Was absolutely amazing. And during this period of time, it was that whole Mad Max craze that came out, where everybody put those huge shocks at the back of the car, and it was like lifted up and had that fake blood. So he was a guy that loved working with his hands. So he created himself a car like that. And this was the thing I just absolutely fell in love with.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive.
Do you think he could make some louvers for my Chevy 4100?
I don't know. He can't see so well anymore.
Oh, okay. No,
but he's actually right now working on some Mercedes Benz that he's working on. It's like it was his wife's car. And yeah, so now he just started. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish whatever the project is, but that's where it started for me. And his car, and he had a couple of them afterwards, and yeah, and myself and my brother just literally just drooled over this thing, and that was the rest is history.
For me, it was my neighbor. His name was Clifton, and he passed away. He died in an accident, but very, very young. Well, I think maybe he made it to 20. But he lived next door, and I guess I knew I liked cars. I was a boy, so you gotta like cars. And then the one day I came home, and he had this beautiful yellow 2.8 Skyline GTX. And that was my first, I was just like, I fell in lust with this car. And he was such a nice guy. And I mean, if you think about it, like, you in the hood, growing up on the flats anyway, you can't be too nice.
Yeah.
You've got to have a tough exterior up until a point, because someone's gonna rob you, someone's gonna fuck you up, something bad's gonna happen. You got to be tough. And he looked like a gangster. I'm sorry, there's another way of saying it, just to my untrained eyes at the time. But he was the sweetest guy, and he would let me get in the car with him, and he would always talk about the car. And even when he passed away, this car would still be there next door. And I mean, I probably was only about 16 or 17, and I would see this car, and I wouldn't know what to do with it, even if I had it, if you know what I mean. But I used to obsess about this car, and obviously, I suspect that's manifested in my love of cars. In fact, it absolutely has. But even my walk home from school, I went to Alexander Sinton, so it took me 10 minutes to walk home. And I would pass, but I had no idea at the time how special these cars were. An E36 M3 with a motorsport rim.
Yeah.
S13 200SX, no idea, looked cool. And the same house, there was a 300ZX.
Wow.
And then do you remember, we used to call it the Fritos truck. There used to be a Fritos ad with a big American van on it.
Yes.
And this one house, and I mean, this is a short walk home. This one house had one of those and a Mach 1 Mustang.
Wow.
And I didn't really give it much thought at the time, but now it's like, Jesus, what? This was on the flats, man. This was in the 80s.
There's a whole bunch of iconic cars if you just think about it.
Super iconic, just walking from my school to my house. So I actually had no choice. This was always going to be my fate. Back to DJing though, because I find like there's this ominous threat that's looming over both our industries, and that is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Do we even need you guys anymore? Let me tell you why. I opened up Spotify the other day, and then Spotify, in a very bad American robot accent, said, "Yo, Cal, man, I'm your DJ basically, and I've been listening to your music, and hit this button whenever you want me to play something that you don't even basically know you want to listen to." And it's quite shit, but all he really does is choose music based on other music that I like,
that you
which
like,
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly where I'm going with this, but like, dude, don't you find that AI is just seeping into everything?
Yes, it is, but I think in DJing it's a little bit different, Because even though they can decide on choosing certain types of music according to what you listen to, the way you as a DJ, the way you play and you express the music and you kind of add and blend them together is to create a reaction for the listener that's actually there. You're trying to create, it's just that there's, that feeling of euphoria when somebody's on the dance floor, they lose themselves in their music. And I don't think AI can do that yet. AI will just play stuff according to what that previous genre was, but every different song, like for example, there are certain songs that we all know and that we like, or we like listening to, that create a certain type of emotion and things on it. And most of us as humans react to those songs in exactly the same way. So when you play certain things in a club, people are going to react to it in a certain way. And I don't think AI is able to do that yet. It might get there. It's close. Technology, though, is the one thing for me, from a DJing point of view, which I embrace all the way. So I'm not fighting it. I'm kind of going, it's cool, because it's allowing me to do stuff that I could not do 25 years ago, or even 30 years ago, which is great.
Counterpoint. I've been to white folks' weddings, black folks' weddings, colored folks' weddings. AI would crush that shit, man. That's the same songs getting the same playback, the same reaction.
But you see, that's where it comes into, is that, so AI can play those same songs. They might play it in the exact same format by listening to you and hear what a DJ has played before. But it's also just how you mix it, how you put it in. Because mixing is, a lot of people think when you're mixing music is literally playing one song and just putting another one in. And it is basically as simple as that. But there's a whole math equation to it, how you calculate the music, the beats, where the structure of a song comes in. And, I always say a real good DJ can actually see the music. So you literally can see it. You know where that break is going to come. You know where that break is, where the next song's going to come in, where that meaty part of the song is. It's how the original guys used to do it, and I still believe it in the same. And yes, technology, even though it can come close, but it's just a way that a human can only do it.
Look, I'm mostly fucking with you, but only because I can see it affecting so many industries. I mean, you're a voiceover artist as well. That is maybe more
tough.
Scary there.
It is tough. I mean, we tried something recently. A friend of mine, what we did is that we did some scripting for a couple of car brands that we were doing, not car brands, but dealerships. So we were doing some work, and things were really going cool, and we did that. And literally, the script that I was reading, we gave it to an AI, and this AI read it, and it was like,
it's scary.
Damn, it is scary. It was on point, but where the difference comes into is what client wants.
Yeah.
And
this, more of this.
Yeah, exactly. And AI can't do that yet. And again, I say yet.
Well, I think if you're being objective, so I mean, I don't want AI to replace me, you, or anybody. But if you go, okay, so I'm hiring a voiceover artist, and it's going to cost me 3,000 Rand, as an example. And I'm going to get my changes. But now I can do it for 100 Rand with this app. And I might go, close enough.
Yes.
So that, I think, might stunt certain industries. I'm using that one as an example. But, I mean, I've done I do a lot of different things in different fields. And sometimes I'll go, well, I realize an AI will do this for me for free. I think I'm going to splurge. So I think where some industries were quite protected in that what they were doing was niche, nuanced. Now you've got these machines going, I've got it, and it's close enough. And your client, as it were, is going, that'll do. I'm saving, $2,000 here.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because obviously in motor journalism, your computer can pretty much write your story for you now.
Oh, that's scary.
And I've actually had some stories submitted to me where I'd look at them and go, no, a human did not write this. And the temptation is out there. So I've kind of gone, okay, if I'm writing something small for myself, I'll perhaps take that liberty. If I'm writing for one of the outlets I write for, wheels, cars, car mag, whatever, I will absolutely not use it, not even as a guide, because you never know.
Yes.
You never know where it's going to go. Not in the sense that you might be posting something, you don't know where it's going to end up. I mean, once you start surrendering to the machine and quoting that work as your own, damn, that's a slippery slope.
It is, and it is very scary, and we've seen that, funny enough, in the DJing industry as well. It's where a lot of people are doing, and a lot of big artists and performers ended up doing just that. They literally went, and even though it was an AI, and now some are using it, they pre-mix or pre-do their entire set. So they're standing up there and doing a performance. And yes, the crowd doesn't care because they just hearing the music that they like. But once you do that, you kind of lose all respect from all your peers, and then it's that thing of just being comfortable. I did it once or twice for a couple of radio shows that I were doing because we needed to get stuff out quickly as possible. So using a software to be able to do that was great and it was cool. But I started realizing that it's not the same. It's losing that little bit of human. It's losing that part where you mess up. Because we all mess up,
and that's the character.
Exactly, and that's the part that I like, the messing up part.
I mean, there's AI in everything, and some of it, when it's a tool, is great. Like the cars we're using now, so many of the systems we're using, it's all forms of artificial intelligence, and it's saving our asses.
Yes.
So I'm definitely not a fan of AI. It's scary. It's early days, but it's quite scary.
It is scary, man. And it's like, did these people have they not watched any of the movies or any of the things that are out there that has said like these things are going to come and kill us? They're going to take over.
We're just like, throw more money at this. If they're going to kill us, let it be spectacular.
Yeah. Cool part is it might not be out. It'll be our kids and their grandkids. So it's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah. So dude, now that you are a motor journalist,
am I?
Absolutely. What is your definition of a motoring journalist?
You.
That is not a definition.
Well, a motor journalist for me is somebody that's been writing quite a bit of, somebody that can actually tell a complete story about something, specifically about a car, give 100% accurate information. And I think maybe I'm just being a little bit hard on myself with it because I've only been doing it for a couple of, I think maybe a year. And I still find it very hard and daunting to be able to create some, the type of content. But you're a motor journalist. You're the person for me. You know everything about cars. You know how it makes you feel. I don't know. It's probably once I've written 100 stories, maybe then I can consider myself. Right now, I've not even done maybe 30. It's about
that is a lot. Like anything comes with practice. What you're clearly experiencing is imposter syndrome, and we all experience that. You're constantly second guessing yourself, evaluating yourself, wondering what your peers are thinking about you, and so on. Unfortunately, I mean that never actually goes away. There are very few people that feel like they deserve to be where they are.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is, and I wonder if there's a similarity with like being a DJ versus being a motoring journalist, where you think you're the shit even when you're not. And I think that's the best thing about family. When you come home from traveling all over the world or having an amazing gig and being worshipped by a bunch of people in a dark club, coming home and your family being like, no, actually, you ain't shit.
No, that happens quite a lot. I mean, like,
I bet.
A lot of people, they would say things about, like me, for example, and you'd walk in at home or somebody says something, and then my wife would just go, can you just keep quiet? Stop talking. And just stop talking. I mean,
it's probably better.
Exactly. So then you just shut up. Go sit in my room.
Remember you really are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the DJing industry, it's DJing both club and also radio. It's a industry which is you run a slippery slope all the time. It also messes with you quite a bit, especially with your head, because like you mentioned, originally listening to people like the Gilmans and, the Graham Whites, the Mark Pilgrims, Kevin Savage. I can mention Alex J, those names. Those guys, for me, were legends, and they were these famous oaks. And when we got into the industry, we thought we immediately those type of people, and you end up getting this huge chip on your shoulder, and then you just find yourself crashing down like massively, just realizing you're just a dude doing a job, and you should be privileged that you get to do that thing. And that's the same way I feel about when I write a story. It's that I get asked, "Would you mind doing it?" I'm like, "Oh my God, really?" And then I think I'm privileged to be able to do it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it forever. If I'm going to continue doing it, I don't know. But right now, I'm enjoying every moment of it. And I get to meet some amazing people. That's the best part of it.
Okay, like who's the most amazing person you've met thus far in this career?
So I won't say it's not even famous people. It is journalists that I've met over the last couple of months. People, there's some older folk that's been around for a hell of a long time. You listen to their stories, like the things they've done. There's a certain gentleman, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention his name, who's been working in publishing for such a long time and published some famous magazines with bunny ears on. And you go like, wow, you've been there. Then there's these other journos that have written some amazing stories while crossing some deserts and stuff like that, And then I also find and I meet some of these younger people which are even further blowing my mind because where they're coming from, what they believe in, where they're going. And I think, we've got a great future ahead of us if you just listen to some of these guys. So I won't say it's famous people, but I've met some really interesting people, some really funny people, some scary ones.
Scary? Like they're driving or just their personality?
Well, they're scary and their personality. They kind of scare you.
There's definitely a couple people you do not want to hop in a car with. You don't necessarily know it at the start.
Yeah.
And no one else is warning you either. It's a baptism of fire in this industry.
No, it is. And then, then you meet some really interesting people that blow your mind. I mean, like Ernest Page, for example.
Oh God, that guy. Every episode, yes.
No, but he's such a cool look. The stuff that he can do inside of a car and where he's come from, to what he's doing right now. And he's always willing to share his knowledge. And I like that. Then there's guys like you, for example. The only reason why I am doing this, writing the stories and all, I know it's going to sound stupid. I'm going to fangirl again, but it's because of you.
It's very embarrassing.
I know, I'm
Please
sorry.
Continue.
But really, no, for real. Look, I remember telling you many years ago that the reason why I like the way you write is that a lot of other journos and people before that and other people I wrote, stories and stuff I read, if I really wanted to read a owner's manual, a product sheet, then there were certain people I would go read. That's how they wrote. But you told a story. You, exactly the same freedom that I think both of us love cars for, is that it gave us that freedom. And you always write, it's like that, the freedom you get from using that. And that interests me. And that's why I kind of wanted to do this.
I think what Ernest has said in the past and what I think he'll agree with now, I love talking about Ernest like he's dead, which I think what Ernest would have said had he been here, God, is that he's mentioned it before, and that is that you're doing it right now. Being a motoring journalist is no longer your 9 to 5. It's not your main career. There's just, frankly, not enough money to be made in this industry anymore. There are half as many day jobs going around as there used to be.
Yeah.
You want to have your main hustle, your main job, and then this be your side hustle. Because then it's a great preview into what you could do, where you could go, your opinion on cars and so on. But you're already established. Whereas if you can imagine, let's say you started out quite young, went to school, studied journalism, 21 years old, you're driving McLarens.
Yeah.
And you've only had a driver's license for 3 years. So your perspective and therefore your cache of information, it's just not as big as someone that's been doing this for a while. And you almost want to have this relationship with cars where I don't need to be driving this car, but I am. So it's a service, it's a duty that I'm feeling obligated to perform. I actually tell you how I feel about this objectively versus someone that goes, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening to me every single time I get into a car.
Yeah.
So I think you've arrived by the better means. And it looks like you're doing more and more. Okay, what has the best trip been thus far? Because that's one of those perks.
I would say the best one so far has had to have been China. And it was not because they had the best cars or it was anything. It was more of a cultural experience that blew my mind.
That is a cultural experience.
Look, going to Europe, you know what you're going to expect in Europe. You're going to India, you know what you're going to expect there. China, India, yes, because
it was hot.
India was completely hot. It did kind of shock me for a lot of stuff that they did, but it's something that you expect because you see it in the movies, you see it in documentaries, you see all of those things. China, you always kind of get a different perspective of it from different people and individuals and stuff that you see. Because China, I thought was going to be this, look, communist state, watch what you say, you can't walk this way, you can't do this, you have to be straight and narrow and bow and all of those things. And then you get there and you find these people which are just, they're like us. They're free and they dress the way we do and they're laughing in the street and doing things and people singing badly karaoke on the beach outside. That was great. So the cultural side was amazing for me. And then also just to see what they are doing, the amount of tech that they're doing. Yes, it is scary that when it comes to the tech that everything is controlled, everything is being watched, but everything works. And that was the impressive part for me.
I think that's the South African perspective wherever we go. It's like everything just works here. I mean, we were in Japan just now.
Oh, dude.
It's more of that. Everything, like the bullet train arrives like 30 seconds early. Not even on time, like 30 seconds early. And it's going to be there for 3 minutes. And if you're not on in 3 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've got 3 minutes to get on there. So no harm, no foul. But everything is meticulous.
Yeah.
There are no bins anywhere in Japan. Well, no, not out in the streets anyway. So you eat a banana, you're carrying a peel around for the next however long it takes for you to get to your hotel. It's just a big alien shock. At least for me, it's my third time there. I love my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
And we got to drive some really cool cars.
Oh, yeah.
Saw some technology. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it yet, but basically electric vehicles with manual gearboxes.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That is going to be the next big thing.
I can't wait to see. I'd love to know how they do it. What? Because there is no gearbox.
It's software.
How do they? I mean, wow.
So that's the next big thing that I'm quite excited about that I've seen. But what has been the most impressive car or technology you've seen so far?
So in China it was again, China was very impressive for me because of again the EVs and all the techs and what I liked about was I think it's a bit corny. I'm not exactly sure how it will work out for us, but it was a car that funny enough Chery had, and it had this hologram. It was a holographic display in the car, and as you move, this thing was moving with you, so you could kind of see it. But you could also touch it and interact with it. I don't know what it was going to do inside of a car, but it was just cool to see the actual tech. And it was this very weird car that they had because the seats could turn around. So literally you'd be sitting there. I mean, yes, the car's going to be a full autonomous driving and all of that, but that was what impressed me. And yes, it was also still future tech, but it was really cool just to see it because I've never seen a hologram in my entire life.
That sounds cool.
But to be able to interact with it, that was awesome. But I think technology in general in cars nowadays is blowing my mind every single time. I know you spoke about that, or actually you wrote it in something where you said that a lot of people nowadays, cars are cars. They're great. They all do the same thing. but everybody is looking for what tech do I get in it. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and
That's just the default. So it's got to have those.
It's got to have those things.
I experienced that BMW iVision D concept car where they treated all the glass, windscreen, side windows, they treated all of it as a big screen in the sense that you were looking through them, but everything was augmented.
Yeah.
So imagine your GPS, you're going, I want to navigate me to football fives in Globo. I don't think there is one, but let's say there is. Instead of your arrow being pointed along, okay, go there, you could, for example, have a bunch of tiny soccer balls like flooding your windscreen and, gesturing like go through here and so on. And you'd be following that instead of conventional arrows. Yeah. That was a very weird, corny example. I don't know where that came from, but fundamentally, that's how it works.
Yeah, I know Mercedes does that with on their displays with the maps, and they kind of show you like the augmented thing.
But imagine this is not just in front of you.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
There. They could even change the environment. So let's say I want to go to the shops, but I want it to look like Killarney the entire time, and it'll paint the chevrons and the rumble strips and everything so that it looks like you're on a racetrack. So obviously, look, I grew up watching Beyond 2000. I love science fiction. So all of this, AI included, it's all very exciting for me. And yeah, you might get 1%, maybe 10% of this technology, but it's cool. What a time to be alive.
It is. I mean, if you think about it, and I funny enough, I said that to my daughter a couple of weeks ago, that it was so weird from where it started for me playing video games on an Atari, playing little block line tennis, to where you are now able to play. I mean, physically, it feels like you're sitting inside of a real car and feeling that, or putting on a pair of goggles and actually playing a game of tennis while physically moving around and hitting stuff. It is insane that we live in a time that, and I think our generation is fortunate enough to have seen it all, from having to go into the country where you were visiting someone and you needed to call home and you needed to phone a telephone exchange, where somebody answered and said, "Nommer asseblief, waarna toe wil jy bel?" And then you had to kind of, and then they say, "Hou net so aan," and then you can hear them talk to the other guy.
Yeah.
Yes. To hear now, picking up my watch and being able to make a phone call.
That's nuts.
That's unbelievable.
I love it. It's like freaking Star Wars and Star Trek and the rest of it. But I mean, dude, like, for example, I'll use your exact example with video games. I mean, for the duration of the 80s and 90s, we thought virtual reality was going to be the next big thing. And then we got really bad virtual reality towards the end of 90s. It is now 2023. I would say since 2017, we've had some proper...
good ones, yeah.
Proper VR. Play that for more than an hour, though.
Yeah.
And you fucking puke, dude.
Dude.
I've got Gran Turismo 7 with VR. That is the most amazing experience I've ever had in VR.
I'd love to try that.
It only doesn't make you throw up because you're sitting down in a car and you're sitting down in this environment, so it feels normal.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start walking around and doing stuff, your body is like, no, this does not compute, and spew.
Yeah, no, I've fallen a couple of times busy.
Is that what's happened here?
No, not this. This is teenage daughters,
You should not hit your teenage
No, I didn't hit my teenage daughter.
Okay, well, you should explain then.
It's when you get angry and, kids are not around and you walk around and you decide like, well, I'll get mad and you hit something. Well, that's exactly what I did, but the cupboard one, I'm more disappointed the fact that even though I broke fingers, there's nothing wrong with the cupboard. Not even a mark.
I knew you did woodwork, but I had a very different impression of what you were doing.
Well, clearly I'm not good at woodwork either.
Oh my God.
I'm not good at that at all. I'm not good with my hands, apparently.
You punched a cupboard and lost.
Badly. Like, badly lost apart. I mean, it's 6 weeks since it happened. I still have to wear this thing because, again, I am clumsy. I don't know if you've noticed, I keep sitting like this with this finger. The only reason I'm doing this is because 2 days ago I got these two stuck in the door. So, yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I can almost not picture you outside of a cast. Like, you've had so many accidents.
Legs, arms,
motorbikes,
hands,
walking, bicycle.
Bicycle, yes.
Skateboard?
Yes. Bicycle, skateboard, scooter, push scooters, scooters. Car, I've actually not had a bad accident.
Okay,
Wow.
okay. I didn't say bad accident. I said accidents.
Oh, accidents. I actually had one accident in a car, and it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Often is.
This was like the worst. It was, when you have, so kids in the back of the car, you sitting in front, they performing, they going off at each other.
There's a theme here with kids.
Yeah, my kids. Yeah.
Don't have them, I guess.
Yeah,
but keep going.
like
Okay, so your kids drive you to violence? Please
So
continue.
we're sitting in the car, the two of them are going on, they're fighting at the back. I'm stopping at a stop street, and modern day cars have got auto hold. For some reason, my auto hold disengaged. I don't know how, but it happened. I stopped, I leaned over, shouted at them at the back, it's like, and the car just went right in front, into the car in front of that, and that was it. That was the worst of my accidents, but I'm a serial rim scraper.
Can we stick on cars for the subject for a little while longer?
No, not those kind of rims. Car rims.
Oh,
So, yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Because this is a very honest place and nothing is sacred, what is the worst damage you've done to a test car so far?
Actually,
We're not bragging. This is like therapy.
no, me, for real, none. Not a sick dude. I am extra careful.
It's only been months.
But it's only been a couple of months. But here's the funny thing though, you're gonna jinx me now, eh? Yarr.
I don't want to.
But
you know the law of jinx.
I haven't messed with a test car, but I have once or twice damaged some of the sponsored cars that I've had.
I've seen them. I've seen those.
So the sponsored cars I've had damaged. Most recently was a Everest Sport where we closed the gate, onto it, and it was a blue metallic car, and it just scraped the whole side.
How long ago was that?
That was about 2 months ago.
Fuck, so that's the new Everest
The new ones, Everest Sport, yeah.
Which looks amazing.
Yeah.
I had a test unit, but also blue. I think it had a black rim.
Yes, exactly the same
Stunning car.
Beautiful, yeah.
Before you scratched it.
So I did that, but luckily it wasn't the test car you had.
Know. No, I get it. Look, the thing is, I've
bad.
mentioned this before, but like, if you're an accountant, you're gonna get one of your tables wrong. If you're a real job, photographer, you're gonna lose work. You're gonna format an SD card. If your job is driving cars, and let's be honest, these are expensive toys.
Sure.
They are often incredibly fast. When you do something wrong at work, it's 9 times out of 10 involves hurting a car. Mm-hmm. We don't love it. It's one of the worst things. You gotta phone the PR, phone the fleet manager, and
terrified.
Maybe they'll shit on you. Maybe they'll be super nice. Either way, same result. You feel like an idiot, and you feel like, this is not the job for me. But it happens constantly. These are the tools of the trade.
I actually did one day think I damaged a car, and when I called the PR, I said, there's this knock on the side of the car. I don't know how it happened. I'm really sorry. And, just let me know. And they're like, oh, yeah, that was there before you got the car.
God damn it. That happened to me, I would say 3 times, but 2 jumps out. The one was I got a Porsche Cayman. It was a very nice one. Very, very nice one. And I get in it. Kid hops in with me, and we go from here to just about over there, and I slam on the brakes. I'm like, fuck. What? There was a crack in the windscreen.
Oh, no.
And I go, shit. Because I had just got in the car and driven it home, and I think, did I drive behind the truck? What did I do?
Yeah.
And we had plans. We were on our way out. We were going out. And I'm like, I can't do it. I got to phone the PR right now and tell him what's happened. And he goes, oh, that was there. Don't worry about it. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you. I sat there. I'm like, I don't think I can enjoy myself. I'm quite fucked now.
Yeah.
I'm not in a good shape, but then I did. Then we went out and it was fine. But that was terrible. And another one where I had written an apology this long on WhatsApp, send photos to the fleet manager, and they do the same thing. That was there before you got it.
But I mean, come
that's ex-journalist. Why didn't you tell me? The one time they did not tell me, but they told Kelly.
Okay.
And she was in the car when it happened, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you that they did tell me about it."
Listen, have you had any awkward moments in cars? Because one day somebody dropped a car off incorrectly for us.
How do you drop it off incorrectly?
It wasn't supposed to be for me.
Oh.
So somebody came and they dropped the car. I wasn't home. And then I get a call and said, that they dropped off a car for you. And I go, oh, who did? And this manufacturer dropped off a certain car. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to get a car. Only to find out, after phoning around, like, no, it wasn't supposed to be for me, it was for someone else.
Okay.
But now, when they bring you a car, they just leave a car in the street. Literally, they leave it in the street. So we have to move the car now. And we couldn't, one, figure out how to start it, and then secondly, how to get out. Because there was no buttons. I mean, or handles.
There's a couple of cars like that now. Like every car I get, it's like a test.
Sure.
And that's what they don't appreciate about our job. A lot of parts of our job is super easy.
Yeah.
But getting into 20 different cars and like, hold on, gotta find the start button.
Where's the start button?
Wait, this one I gotta put my foot on the clutch, not the brake. Or now there's this new trend where there's no buttons.
Yes.
There's no buttons for any reason in the car. You gotta swipe the screen and all that shit. But now it is 40 degrees outside. And the car's got the seat warmers on and it's blasting the heat at 24. And you literally have, I think, 40 seconds. Either you find the fucking aircon or you pass out.
You pass out, yeah.
It's like fucking Mission Impossible.
I don't feel bad anymore.
No.
I don't feel bad anymore.
You think the more cars you drive, the better it gets? No, it's like your brain's like going through all the archives. There was this one car in 1997 that had a button of a year. There it is. Do you know how to open the bonnet on a Ford Focus?
No.
Early 2000s era.
Wait, wasn't that, there was a button, right? There was a button.
You've got to end up using the key. You got to take the Ford badge and you got to...
And you put the key in. I remember that. Oh, yes. Yeah, no. I'm thinking about something. The reason why I'm thinking about that, because this weekend, the car that I had, I couldn't figure out how to open up the bonnet. I was laying underneath and doing stuff, and eventually figured out it was a tiny little switch.
I had the Suzuki Eco. Lovely little panel van.
Yeah.
And I drove it to Langebaan. And when I got there, I discovered I had a flat wheel.
Oh, crap.
So, I can do this. but like nagging at the back of my mind is like, what can you do? You've had this car for 3 days. You never saw a spare wheel.
Yeah, where is it?
Shut the fuck up at that. It's got to be
in the place.
Open up. There's nothing there. Okay, I know where it could be. It's under the car.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you release that? Okay, fine. Okay, there's a little bolt here. I'm ahead of the curve already.
Yeah.
I'm kicking this thing's ass. I know what to do. Got to use the wheel brace. Okay.
Correct.
Find the wheel base.
None.
There's literally no place left to look. And something goes, look under the bonnet.
What?
And there it was.
For real?
The wheel jack and brace was under the bonnet. The engine's only this big.
Yeah.
So there's actually quite a bit of space, and there was the wheel jack. Took that out, jacked up the Eco, and then swapped the wheels and so on. And then I got curious. I was like, where's everything else in this thing? Where's the wait a minute, I'm under the bonnet, but there's no battery. How is this car getting its power? And then for no reason other than curiosity, I went about finding the battery, which was under the passenger seat.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's another passenger
And that's okay. I almost could have predicted that one. But in general, like you hop into all these cars and you go, I don't know how to do anything in these things anymore. The worst, I think, might be getting a flat in a very expensive car that has very expensive wheels. And typically the adapter that you need to take the wheels off do not come with the car.
No.
So now you're stuck with a, let's say, Audi RS4 wagon. in the middle of nowhere and you don't really know what to do.
Yep.
You don't have to know how that story ended, but it sucked. So yeah, our jobs are actually quite hard.
Yeah, people don't know, and that's the one thing that I admire about what you guys did. I mean, like, just going on an actual launch, an overseas launch, and people don't know that you arrive at a certain time, then you might arrive on that day, and you might not even have time to do anything because you have to go off to go to a meeting, or you have to go off to the launch, and then you got to come back. Then there's a dinner, and everybody thinks that the dinner is just fun and games. No, it's actually a formal dinner and speeches and stuff. And then the next day, and then you've got deadlines, and everything needs to happen. It is, it's hard work.
So I'll use this Japan trip as an example. So and who doesn't, you're only posting the cool stuff. You're posting the car, you're posting the business class seat, you're posting the menu of your meal, you're posting your canapes, you're posting your amazing room. But what happens in between, for example, we fly from Cape Town to Joburg. From Joburg, in our case, to Addis Ababa.
Wow.
Then flew to Incheon, Korea, and then got back on the plane that we had been sitting on, walk through security and get back on the same plane to the same seat and fly to Japan. That's just going there. I know
that's insane.
Nice. And then you get there. But luckily we had our first day was kind of free.
Yeah.
So, but also now it's 7 hours later or earlier actually. And you get there and your brain's like, no, we got 7 more hours to go. But it's 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning, yeah.
So you go for a walk, have a beer, eat something exotic, and get back to your room and you still kind of just lay there like, I have to be up in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not being naughty. Time has just ceased to exist the way it conventionally would. And now I've got to force myself to pass out and then back in the morning. Now it's the work day. Now you're on a bus. This trip was the first time I've almost missed a bus since Korea 15 years ago.
Oh, so you have missed a bus.
Oh my God.
No.
That was because we were all wasted because the Korean culture dictated that we've got to drink shot for shot with the locals.
Yeah.
That's a green blur. But anyway, so this one, I had set my alarm for, be on the bus at 7.
Yeah.
So I set my alarm for 10 to 6. But my alarm was linked to GPS and the rest of it. And somehow in the night, I assume an hour disappeared. Anyway, I got up at 10 to 7, realized I was in Japan, and therefore lateness was punishable by death, but also realizing I had 10 minutes to get done.
Yeah.
And then my silly ass somehow decided that a shower was still imperative. Just to like wash this funk off. So I hopped in the shower. I made it to the bus at 2 minutes past 7. Normally punishable by death, but this time, as I ran past everyone to the bus, I noticed I had run past quite a few people because this was an international launch and there were people from other countries. And I was not. In fact, I was the third person on the bus, so everything was fine.
Okay, all right.
But waking up and knowing that, like getting on the bus, getting your seat and knowing 12 minutes ago you were like this in bed, that was not a good experience.
Yeah, I had that
but
earlier
it's
this
just
year.
lag. It's just freaking lag.
Yeah,
and then when I came back home, geez, I had to reset all over again.
It's completely mind-boggling, and yes, you're right. I had a similar situation earlier this year. I worked till late because needed to get some stuff done, and then I get a phone call. The rooms, I mean, my alarm, for some reason, I didn't hear it, and then they call me. That for some reason they're able to kind of call the room and everything literally.
Yeah, just shakes. The room just shakes.
Yeah, and then you wake up and they're like, "Hey, we're on the bus. Where are you?"
Oh, it's such a cock.
So it was literally running in with clothes and shit. I literally got dressed on the bus, brushed my teeth on the bus, and then it was a horrible experience. It was hard work, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Man,
have you done a lot of truck driving since?
So no, and that's the thing though for me, is that there's a lot of stuff that I haven't done. I've done no international tracks. I've only done tracks locally, and when I say locally, it's not even major tracks. Killarney has been it. I've done that track in Franschhoek, and then I did Swartkops, and that was about it for me.
You're on the board.
Yeah, I'm on the board, yeah.
You'll get to them all eventually.
Yeah, but...
Look, it's not for everyone. That's the other thing. I know there was a time in my life when track driving was everything. I just wanted to do all the tracks. And then I was fortunate enough to do most of the tracks. And I'm now at the point where you almost don't need that pressure. You enjoy it once you're there. But there's so much pressure to perform, and it's kind of counterintuitive. You're not learning that much about the car beyond a certain point. Like if you've had 1 or 2 good laps, you kind of have sussed it out. But that also comes with a lot of experience or just time in the seat. But it's an exciting time for you if you do enjoy driving quickly, where you've got, like every track you haven't done is potentially a track you're yet to do. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to be able to do some more tracks and stuff like that, but I'm also not really. That's not really what I want to do. I just enjoy driving, and even if it's driving sitting in traffic in cars, because it's a good feeling for me. So I do just like testing the cars in everyday situations, because I know for me, I'm probably never ever going to drive half of the cars as quick as what I legally am allowed to do.
That's worth mentioning.
So for me, it's even if I drive the fastest car and I'm only doing it at about 100 k's an hour, because that's the speed limit. You know, that's really what real day use is going to be for me. So that's what it is. But also because I know I'm not as great as a driver as what you are and a lot of other guys. I mean, I've been on you on some drives with you.
On me. Oh,
really? I have been on you.
Only because I cornered a little bit too aggressively.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
It was very nice, though.
It's definitely it's something that, you know, I'm not even that guy now. If I think about it, like there are times when it was important to me, but now I also just enjoy a car for its characteristics, for its comfort. Comfort's a big word.
Yeah.
On this couch, we do love a comfortable car.
Sure.
I'm not saying choose a favorite car, because that's very, very difficult to do. But the car that's made the most impact on you thus far in your career, or the car that you went, this one, I could totally own this one. What springs to mind?
Wow.
Tough,
it's a bit of a. It is a tough one. I would rather say there was a couple of cars that has surprised the living daylights out of me. Ones that I didn't expect for it to be as good as what I thought it would be. So something like the Ranger Raptor, the new one. That just. I mean, the previous one was just a bucky, and it was great, and you know it could do certain things. But the new one, just
that's a proper sports car.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what am I driving? Like, why is this doing this? It shouldn't be doing this, and it shouldn't be this much fun, and it shouldn't be. So that's kind of changed. It really surprised me, but I don't know if there's anything that I would say that would have completely. Yeah, it's a really hard.
I know.
It's a really hard one. I don't know. I mean, if I ask
after
you,
1 year and you already can't answer. Now I've been doing this shit for 20 years, and someone goes, "What's the best car you driven?" The fuck should I know? I've forgotten by now.
Yeah, look. This year has been quite interesting because I've managed to get to some really cool cars. Most recently, the car that has really surprised me was the new GLC 63. That was really impressive because, again, it's an SUV, but with them removing the V8 from that and adding a 4-cylinder and adding an electric motor onto it, and just the way it handled. And for me, it was great driving it, but being with guys who could really drive and experiencing that, I was blown away. So that was also very impressive so far. And that's all because of technology and where it's going. It's scary that you could squeeze such a lot of power out of such a small little motor, and then with all the other tech that kind of goes with it.
So I'm constantly being just like blown away by what electricity is doing. Yeah. So again, I'll touch very lightly on it. So I love an old Toyota Coupe, pop-up lights, rear-wheel drive. So the first time I'd ever been to Japan, 9 years ago. The first photo I took was of an old Hachiroku 11. And so what happened on this trip now was quite a circle in the sense that we got to this track and there was a Hachiroku 11, same as the one I'd seen all those years ago, but they'd colored in the E and the V in the word 11. And it would turn out what that was a rolling laboratory, and the engine on there was the electric motor of the hybrid Toyota Tundra Bucky.
Yeah.
Just the electric component, mated to the gearbox of a GR86, actual physical gearbox, but powered by a Lexus NX battery. So electric motor, traditional mechanical gearbox, and a battery the size of that bike. And the guy that was driving it at the track the next day, I hop in with him and he goes, he holds up his phone and he goes, original or LFA? And what he was asking me is, do I want the soundtrack of the original Hachiroku or would I like a Lexus LFA soundtrack? So obviously I go, original.
Original, yeah.
And he proceeds to cane this fucking car, shifting all the way. And as far as I could hear, I was listening to an 8.6 and the sound was being produced through the speakers in the car.
Oh my word.
But in the passenger seat, being whipped around this little course and hearing this, I was completely submerged in the experience.
And outside, you hear nothing, just the squealing of the tires.
I appreciate the fact that from the outside, it was a lot of tires.
Yes.
A lot of chubby Cape Town boys screaming. That was me.
That was you. Okay. But you were hitting someone.
But for the most part, in the car, you were driving the real thing.
That's amazing. I still can't believe how they managed to get the gearbox on an electric motor. That's amazing.
I mean, they knew what they were doing. But I'm just not put off by electric cars.
I'm not either though, and I kind of sometimes feel bad. I feel bad because the ICE engine was the thing that we all just loved.
It's not going anywhere.
No, yeah. I mean, I love.
We're gonna have them both. They don't necessarily know it yet.
Yeah.
And their PR team certainly don't know it yet, but we're gonna have them both.
No, we have to. I mean, if you just think about, for example, Africa, where we are, where electricity is an issue, they are going to continue. We're going to have to have. It's going to have to be hybrid somehow, but we're going to have to continue using ICE engines for quite a while down here. I mean, I know a lot of manufacturers said by 2025 and 2035 they want to be fully electric, but I see more and more, things are shifting, and it's not really going to happen. I don't think so.
It ain't going to happen. But if it did, it wouldn't be the end of the road for us.
No, I also don't think so. It's quite interesting. It'll be a bit of a different experience. I mean, I look at you with the e-bikes and stuff that you do. I mean, you still love it. It still feels exactly the same way. You can still go do your jumps and go up hills and do all the fun other stuff that you do on it. I mean, it's just enhancing the experience a little. And I think that's what it's going to do for us. The only thing that I'm a bit concerned about is the autonomous driving thing. That's the only thing I'm not looking forward to. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
I've seen you drive. I think it might be an improvement.
Yeah, because I'm a rim scraper. Okay, be that guy. No, listen, it's just, again, driving for me was the one thing that kind of gave us that freedom that we could go. I mean, being a kid growing up in Mitchell's Plain and literally that was our world. And luckily I had parents that could take us and do whatever. But as soon as I got into a car, it gave me that freedom to be able to go to places and go see people. And it was it's a great feeling. It's something that I still love doing today, even though I would drive around for hours. Hell, if I could possibly change jobs, I would probably be a delivery guy, driving around all day.
Jesus, that took a turn. Okay, wow. I'm gonna call it here, But I'm going to live in hope that one day my Takeover driver is going to be you.
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. Your stuff might not reach you because I know you always got cool toys. So if I see your name.
Yours is the Takeover driver with the heavily scraped rims.
Yeah,
right?
scraped rims, that'll be exactly me here. And none of your packages will be delivered.
Okay, yeah, you keep hands of my package. I don't know how to greet you. Do we do this or what is the situation?
Yeah, we could do it
I
either
get a
way.
block of wood for you to punch?
No, dude, I'll probably break something again, so rather not. Listen, man, thanks a lot for having me.
That was a lot of fun. Thanks so much. Dude.
I know you don't want to hear this, but you're one of my heroes. No, for real. He's one of my heroes. He inspires me. I like all these crap that he does, everything that he does. It's just amazing. And I wish you all the best, man. And you've inspired me to do a lot of stuff. This that I'm doing, and a lot of other things, because when you made that big move many years ago to kind of literally just step away from everything and kind of start on your own, I remember saying to you, are you mad? Are you sure you can do this? And you're like, yeah, I'm going to give it a try. And I was worried. And being able to see you do what you do inspired me to do a lot more things. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I've not wanted to do. Even the voiceover game was something that I was a little bit scared to kind of get into. But I ended up just going and doing things and learning new things and taking on new challenges. So keep on doing what you do, bro.
Glad to get it, dude.
You make
inspired one guy.
You make old people like me, even inspire old folks like me. But thanks a lot.
You're like 2 or 3 years older than me.
I'm still older than you. My knees and my broken wrist and fingers and stuff will all say it.
Whatever's broken, you broke. This is not an age thing. This is a youth thing.
Yeah,
stay off the skateboards.
I'm done.
Peace, dude.
Thank you.
Fucking chop. Woo!